What's up, man? Good morning, y'all. Patrick, I see you. Alright, let me change. So I got this pedal that I'm trying to kind of figure out. I haven't quite had a chance to dig into it. I'm going to be doing a video on this pedal soon. The New X Melvin Lee Davis preamp. This is like literally my first time pulling it out of the box, so I haven't really had a chance to kind of go through it and really learn it. So this is my time. This is generally what I use. Conflict of interest, I'm sure, but this is generally what I use for any of you guys that are wanting to know about the preamp that I use. As you can see, it's the difference between these two pedals. This one is definitely smaller. For the most part, they seem to have a lot of similarities in terms of the input. You have a through, an out, input. You know what I'm saying? The toggle switches are pretty much the same. You have a DI out on this one, as well as a DI out on that one, on the TC Electronic. Got an aux in and a headphones. Auxiliary in so you could practice and stuff, as well as a headphone. So they're very similar. I mean, the different the knobs and toggle switches and stuff are labeled differently. So I mean, I don't want to say, I mean, they're basically the same thing because I don't know yet. I know just first glance they look very, very similar. I know I've learned my way around this one pretty well, but I don't know my way around this one yet. So I'm still trying to figure it out. So that's kind of that's kind of what I'm talking about this morning. Partially, y'all know we're gonna always relate it to life, but I'm just trying to kind of figure this one out a little bit. I haven't quite got it worked out, but I'm working through it. So I was about to kick it to the side, but let me play around with it just a little bit. See, I missed a comment there. Good morning, man. Canada, I see you in the house. So yeah, I'm just kind of working. I just want to check something else too while I'm here. I want to check something else because I wonder, is my battery dying on my bass? My bass sounds a little weird this morning, and I'm wondering, is my battery dying? It might not be, but I just want to check to see is it a setting that I may have wrong on the pedal, or is my battery actually dying this morning? I'll know in just a second. I think I might have a dying battery. Let me check one last thing, and I'll let you know, just in case some of y'all don't have a clue to how to check if your battery is dying. Let me check one last thing, and I'll know if my battery is dying or if it's just a bad connection somewhere. Let me check that. When you start hearing that distortion sound in your bass, if you're not running all these pedals and stuff like I am, and you start hearing that little distortion, that buzz sound, that's what I mean by distortion, that slight buzz, that means it might be time to change your battery. All right. Morning, man, David. You see how I'm getting that like slight trashy sound? Like when you're hearing that slight, it's not as, when I'm running direct, like right now I'm plugged direct into the amp and it's not as noticeable, but when I'm running through my pedals and preamps, stuff like that, I'm hearing a slight little trashiness or like a little buzz in my sound, and I don't want to hear that. And so unless you got like a drive or something turned on, that's an indication that your battery is probably out. A lot of y'all probably already know that, but just in case some of you guys play active basses and you didn't know how to know when the battery is going out. The other clear sign is when you can't hear anything. But right before that, you'll start hearing a little distortion and your sound will start diminishing more and more. When you dig in, it'll start sounding real. Of course, the better the bass is, the less likely you'll hear it right away because the tone will still be good all the way up to the point that the battery dies. So if you have a passive action, you can switch it over to passive and still be able to play it, get through your service or get through your gig or whatever the case may be. What's up, y'all? Philip, Charles, what kind of pedals would you use to get a synthy bass tone? I get asked that all the time. To be honest, I don't have any synth bass pedals. I know Moog, however you say it, they make several synth bass pedals. Moog is like the king of synth. And so I would say try out some Moog stuff just right off top. I'm not getting paid for that. But just from what I've heard, Moog has like some really sweet stuff. Electro Harmonics, I think they might make something that has that synth sound. You just really have to check around and do trial and error, truth be told, because I haven't had a lot of experience with the synth sound as far as using bass pedals to get that synthy sound. But most of the people that I know that do, they've been using like the Moog stuff. So that might be an option to try out the Moog stuff if you're looking to get some of that synth stuff, that synth sound. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Try out that Moog. Yeah. So, all right. I think I'm all good. I'm all set here. Let's see what other things that I missed. All right, France is in the house this morning. I see you. Virginia is in the house. New York is in the house. Canada is in the house. Dubai is in the house. Man, I would love to come to Dubai. Or actually, I'd love to come to several places. I've been to Canada. I haven't been to Dubai. I've been to New York. Let's see here. Definitely been to Virginia. Haven't been to France yet. Definitely been to North Carolina. North Carolina's in the house. What's up? What is tone deaf? Not being able to hear pitch really well. Not being able. Hopefully nobody called you tone deaf, man. But lady, whoever that was, I just saw the comment or the question. I didn't see whose name it was. But tone deaf is like you're not really able to hear the key. That Germany is in the house. I see you not able to like really hear the key. It's like a person that's the opposite of perfect pitch, where a person with perfect pitch can basically hear a song, immediately know the key of the song, or immediately go to it, even if they don't know the name of the note. They can go right to it and they understand it clearly. I don't have perfect pitch, by the way. I think I have what's called perfect relative pitch, something along that lines, and it's pretty close to perfect pitch. But it's like I can hear a key and associate it. Like every now and again, I can pull a random E out of my head. Like I can walk in and grab a guitar and just tune it to E. So I hear random notes. My daughter has perfect pitch where she can hear the key of a song and know exactly what key the song is in. She can tell you exactly. I've been making her learn her keys. Not making her, that sounds bad. I've been teaching her her note names. She's only 8, but I've been teaching her her note names so she can identify if a song is in the same key and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's tone deaf just means you need to really work on learning your pitch. There's hope for some people, and others it's like you gotta work really hard. I'm not gonna say there's no hope for people who are tone deaf. You just have to work harder than other people. Because I believe if a person, even if their ears are terrible, if they're willing to work, they might not get excellent at it, but they can get better at being able to recognize with the right set of tools. And I I take my college experience with the class statistics. If you have the right set of tools and the right teacher, you can grow. Nathaniel, what's up, dude? My dude, Nate. Charleston, South Carolina. Yes, sir. So if you have the right set of tools, you can grow. It's possible to develop. And I said my statistic. That's a hard word to say. When I was in college, man, my I took it at UNA, University of North Alabama. No shade to my statistics teacher, but Steven, what's up, dude? But when I took it, shout out to Steven, man. He got the merch. He was wearing the hoodie. I reposted him on my channels. But yeah, so I when I was taking the class, I flunked with flying colors at at UNA when I was taking statistics. I just could not get it. I couldn't understand it, and I had a bunch of like different. And this is no offense or anything, but I had a bunch of Asian students in my class, and they were, they were getting it. They were. So my teacher, he didn't really have to do any work because there was a lot of different exchange students that were in the class with me, and maybe like a couple of other American students. But for the most part, it's like I was the oddball in the room, just completely lost. He would say the stuff, everybody else would get it, everybody else would understand it. So I was thought to believe that I would never understand statistics. So the following, when I found out that I was going to basically fail that class for that semester, I eventually dropped the class and I took it over the summer at another college, Ole Miss, as a matter of fact, in Mississippi. I took it over the summer, and the teacher made the class make so much sense to me when she and I took and I had to work a little harder. I did one-on-one lessons with the teacher after classes. I was still having a little struggle. It made a little bit more sense, but when I started doing the one-on-one lessons with her, she broke it down to me in a level that I could understand it, and I could start, taking little bites, and it made sense to me. I came out of that class like with a high B, and so it wasn't an A, but I was able to pass the class with a good grade, and that just goes to show you anything can be learned. It can be learned. It might be a little harder for you if a person is tone deaf. Don't let that be, man, I'll never be able to play music. I don't believe that. If Beethoven was able to write music when he was deaf, beautiful music, I mean, I ain't gonna say obviously, but surely a person can learn who doesn't have any musical ability at all. They can learn to be able to better hear it and better appreciate music just by having the right set of tools and the right person to show them a way to do it. That's just my opinion. You know, so I'm seeing some more people jump up. Kenya, what's up, Kenya? Dimitri from Kansas City, I see you. Jamaica, yes sir. I got to get to Jamaica as well. Yeah, so that's my thought on tone deaf. I don't know how I got way there. Good afternoon, the Netherlands. Absolutely, at the Netherlands. We got everybody in the house this morning. Nice little sunrise action happening in the background. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but yeah, I got a nice little sunrise action happening back there. Let's play a little bit. This is the song I'm working on and I'm producing currently for a client of mine. He might jump on this live, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not gonna tell who it is. I don't want to give it away. Good morning, man. So yeah, I'm working on this song, and this is the solo section of the song. By the way, if any of you guys have original music that you are trying to record, I would love to record it with you. I would love to produce your song. Many of you don't know as well, I do a lot of stuff. Everything I do is music related. And I love, my absolute, probably highest at my list is creating music. And I don't mean just sitting here playing. I mean like writing songs, arranging songs. If I had to just pick one thing out of everything musically that I do, playing bass, playing guitar, all this stuff, I think just creating music and the creative process of coming up with music, taking an idea and, you know, seeing it, the fruition of that idea, that's probably my favorite thing out of everything that I do. Just creating music. So that's why I have a lot of albums. I have a lot of songs that y'all hear. That's probably one reason I enjoy doing the backing tracks and all that kind of stuff, because I love creating music. So if any of you guys on here, you got some musical ideas that you want to put out, some songs you thought about putting out but you didn't have the confidence, listen, I will produce that song for you. I will mentor you through the process of how to do it, how to get it out, and make sure that you don't put any junk out that embarrasses you in the process. So I'll make sure to help you through this entire process. I have a whole production package on my website. If you guys want to know more about that, visit JermaineMorgan.net. Click on production plans, and I have a whole production package on my website dedicated to helping people, especially people. The production package that I created was for people who are on a budget and, you know, they don't have a lump sum of money at one time, because recording can be expensive, especially for us as producers, because a lot of times we have to outsource and we have to pay, and not to mention you're paying for our time and our energy and paying to get quality music. Now if you just want to get somebody who can just throw you something together, by all means go with it. But yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. I had some success at it, and I enjoy songwriting as well. I don't know why I'm telling you all this morning, but hey, somebody might want to know. But I enjoy songwriting. Whoever that was, good morning to you. Adi Tola, I can't pronounce your name. Do you sight read? Man, I suck at sight reading. I can read, but it takes me a minute to get through it. I suck at sight reading. But so yeah, but I would love to work with you. So this is, like I said, this is a demo of the song that I'm working on for an artist here. This is the solo section of it, and that's what pedal is definitely different in the volume level, because now I find myself I'm having to raise the volume of this preamp as opposed to what I had to do earlier for the NewX preamp. It's definitely a lot hotter. So that's something that I'm noticing right away in terms of the two preamps. That's interesting. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Well, I'm assuming that it's a little louder. Got a little bit more, a couple more decibels, dB to it. So, all right, I saw a comment pop up. It's cold, y'all. Excuse me for my sniffing, but it is cold. All right. So it's cold outside. It's like 30 degrees. Let's see here. Good morning, Jermaine. I would love for you to help me with songs that I have been working on forever. Marcus, send me an email. Send me an email at jmorganbass@gmail.com. jmorganbass, or you can send it to, this is the easy one to remember, Jermaine@jermainemorgan.net. It's easy to remember, so just send it to Jermaine@jermainemorgan.net. And that's for any of you guys who are interested in me working with you on your music. I'm fair, I'm reasonable when it comes to pricing. I think I am anyway. I could be charging more given the stuff that I've done, but you know, I try to work with people. I just, you know, I just love to record your music. I love to record your music. Now, you got to be fair when it comes to pricing, and you got to make sure that you're not trying to take advantage, because this is what I do for a living. All things music related, and I love what I do. I absolutely, again, love what I do. So yeah, all that being said, man, send me an email, and let's follow up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how many songs you have and all that kind of stuff, and let's work through it. Yeah, so. I'm trying to get it right. Alright, let me try this now. There we go. Alright, I think we can do something now. What's up now? I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but when it's really cold and my hands haven't really warmed, I've been out here for a minute and I'm cold. I enjoy warm weather. The spring and the summer are my favorite times of year. I enjoy like the clothes choice that you get to wear in the wintertime. I enjoy the look of winter, but I don't like the cold. So like when my hands are cold, it takes me a minute. It takes a good minute for my hands to be warmed up. I've been up for a while, but I haven't been playing that long this morning. I've been doing other things as I've been up. But yeah, let's see here. Jermaine Morgan at JermaineMorgan.net. Now it's Jermaine at JermaineMorgan.net. So yeah, just Jermaine at JermaineMorgan.net. Just take the Morgan off the first one. Sheldon, what's up, man? Hinesville. Where's Hinesville? Thomas Base, Netherlands got doubled. Oh, wow. Yeah, so, all right, so let's see here. I'm just working through this stuff, getting my hands warmed up. All right. Ah. All right, let's see what we got. So I'm interested, you guys that are out there, what sound do you prefer? When I post stuff on Facebook, it's so funny. I see, when my stuff gets shared on the Bass Players United page, I don't know if you guys are following that page, but every Tuesday there, I have a video going out on Bass Player, Hinesville, Georgia. I've never heard of that. I gotta look that up. So I've have something that's shared every week on Bass Players United. So if you guys are following that page, you probably see my videos there. But one of the things I find it funny, like almost every week, I get so much, depending on which video I post. If I post something with me playing the 6-string bass, oh man, it's like a divided world. Half of the people really, really dig it, and the other half are like, playing 6-string, he might as well be playing a guitar, and it's so much stuff. And I've even got comments from people that tell me things about me. I need to learn how to play the low end, and I need to, the groove is where the pocket is, and all this. It's so much stuff in terms of telling me how I need to play. I'm like, you clearly haven't seen more than one video. This is the only video that you've seen, but I appreciate your encouraging me to learn how to play the bass. So it's just, I guess Facebook is just very interesting in terms of people feeling compelled to share their thoughts with you, not knowing anything about you, knowing any accomplishments or anything. It's just they see a video and they make a comment. Well, I'm asking the question, what do you guys prefer? Like, do you prefer the boutique bass? Even if you don't have one, which one, just based on what you've heard, the basses that you hear people play, do you prefer a boutique, which means a more high-end bass, like the bass I'm playing, or my Warrior basses, or MTD, Federa, F bass, or any of those basses that are custom built basses, versus like Ibanez, Fender. And Fender does have some custom built basses, but it's pretty standard setting. So like Ibanez, Squier, Fender, I know some top 3 that come to my mind. So what do you guys prefer to play, and why? What is your reason for wanting to play those particular basses as opposed to trying out something that's a little more different? Somebody said I like MTD, but mostly because I see them a lot in gospel music. Absolutely, yeah, MTD, Andrew Goosh, Ken Smith. I forgot to mention Ken Smith. This bass, this serene bass, it gets often confused with Ken Smith because of the design, especially this big body design, and people see that little point on it. They think it's a Ken Smith bass, but it's not. It's a Serene. It's a double S on there. Scott Serene is the builder of this bass. Good morning, man. Roanoke, Virginia in the house. So yeah, it's you said MTD because of the gospel, a lot of the gospel cats. Yeah, you got my dude Justin Raines who plays MTD. K-Bass plays MTD a good bit. I mean, we can go on and on. The list goes on and on. I think in mainstream gospel, you see the MTD show up a little bit more over the last 10 years, and definitely the godfather, Andrew Goucher, who plays MTD, and Joel Smith played MTD when he was alive. Stuart Spectors. Yeah, I've seen the Spectre basses, and to me, they resembled the Warwick basses. I used to have play a Warwick thumb bass. Uh, Ferdinand, Ferdinand, is that right? Benin. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. So yeah, what are you guys playing, and why? Why are you playing those basses? What makes you enjoy it? And don't just say just because that's what I could afford. I mean, I get it, you know. Like I said, I started out, I think my first bass was not actually my bass, but my mom's bass that I was playing on was like a Rogue bass. I don't know if you guys ever even heard of that. It was in the Musician's Friend catalog. The bass was like $300. And my first 5-string bass that I played, it wasn't mine, but that was the bass I was learning on, was like a Rogue 5-string bass. It was charcoal gray, charcoal whatever. So that's what I was playing. Yeah, they do resemble. Yep, they're much brighter than the Warwick. All right, let's see here. Seeing some comments pop. Can you library some licks based on modes, please? We'll see. We'll see in the upcoming riffs and licks libraries. Do you have Gishlin? Have you purchased any of the other riffs and licks courses? All right. So let's see here. I'm gonna go back to the comments. Saving for a bass and actually trying to figure out what sound I like. Heading to the shop this week to try everything out. I'm playing a Epiphone Thunderbird. Yes, affordable, mostly for looks. Got you. So Christian, like, where are you going? Like, what shop you going to? Are you going to like a custom shop of a particular, particular luthier, or are you just going to like a just regular guitar store, a bass store, or something like that? I'm curious. Good morning. This is Olympia from Dallas. The basses I have, my favorite right away is the Sire P7. Yo, those Sire basses, those basses are killing right now. I watch when I watch YouTube. Sometimes I binge watch. I get to watching a certain topic, and I watch this whole, I think it's documentary series of Marcus Miller. He was doing a tour of the Sire basses, and I think that's genius what he did, partnering with that company to create those affordable basses, and being the genius of his tone, so recognizable, but it's so versatile at the same time with the sound of like a standard bass, and being able to I thought it was marketing genius what he did with those basses. So excuse me, I haven't personally played a Sire bass, but from what I've heard, for the most part of what I heard, I enjoy the sound of it. Personally, I'm just not a big standard bass. I wouldn't mind having one, but that's not really my go-to thing. I wouldn't say I wouldn't play it, but that's not my go-to thing. But I wouldn't mind playing one and trying one out, possibly even having one. So that might change my perception once I play that bass. So yeah, let's see here. Trying to get back to the comments. Y'all are coming in with them, and I appreciate them. Keep them coming. I'm gonna read them. Let's see here. I love the sound of your style and bass. I play a 6-string because of the style of Wayman Tisdale. Okay, so you're more, Marcus, you're more on the boutique style. And most of the time you hear the solo players and you get inspired by solo players. They kind of sway you more towards the boutique basses. I get it. Gibson? Okay, do you mean Gibson? I think, because if that's a Gibson is a different brand, I haven't heard of that. But Philip, when you say Gibson, do you mean Gibson bass, like Gibson? Was that a typo, or is that an actual name? Gibson, is that an actual name of a bass? I play MTD 635, like the one Justin Raines play. The tone is great and very easy to dial up during service. Absolutely, man. Sammy, I see you. Yeah, Justin's bass is a beast. He was over to my house. Well, you guys may have saw You guys may have saw that episode of Jermaine Morgan TV when I had Justin over to the house, and yeah, his bass is definitely a beast. I love the simplicity of the jazz and P basses, so I play a GL. I forgot G and L. I forgot about those. Yeah, those are great basses, and as well as Lakeland. Lakeland makes some really great basses as well, man. Let's see here. Yamaha BBNE because of Nathan, of course. Yeah, the Yamahas. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, when I was coming up, I really looked up to him. He played the Yamaha. He was like a Yamaha fan. The only thing I didn't like about Yamaha, and I really can't talk now because I'm playing bigger neck basses, but the neck was so wide on the Yamaha basses, so I didn't really care for that when I was younger. But back in the day now, Yamaha basses was beautiful. I guess even back in the day, before I even had a clue to what boutique basses were, I was always just blown away by that exotic look for basses. Because my friend that I was referring to, man, he had a beautiful, like, I don't know colors like my wife. I'm just gonna call the bass green. It was this big green, just crazy looking texture. Thinking back, it probably was like a flame maple with just that green. I don't know how to call these colors out, but like some type of green stain, and a gloss on it. And it was just a really, really nice looking bass, and it sounded great too. But I was new to bass then. I just thought the bass was dope. Just my honest opinion about it. And I think it was a 6-string that he played. Might have been a 5, but I think it was a 6-string back then. All right, so just got into the room. Good morning, real life. Good morning to you. Just wondering, what are you figuring? What are you figuring out? I was figuring out. I was working through these pedals. I mentioned earlier. It's not anything life changing. I was working through this new X pedal, trying to figure it out. This new X preamp. Melvin Lee Davis. If any of you guys have heard of Melvin Lee Davis, if you haven't, look him up. He's a beast of a player, phenomenal player. But they've came out with this new preamp, and they sent the company NewX sent it to me to check it out. And so I was kind of working my way around trying to learn this pedal and just kind of trying to figure this pedal out. But currently I'm using the Spectra Drive as my preamp by TC Electronic, but I'm just trying to kind of dig into this one, and it's going to take a little bit more time for me to just really sit down with. I haven't had the time to sit down and figure it out. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm trying to figure out. This pedal, NewX preamp by Melvin Lee Davis. Yeah. So, well, it's a Melvin Lee Davis signature preamp. All right. So let me go back. All right, I'm currently playing an Ibanez SR 505 5-string. I like the SR series Ibanez basses. I think they're cool because I like the sound. Moving around the neck feels great. Yeah, Ibanez, that's one thing I did notice early on about the Ibanez basses. The feel of those basses, most of them, all basses aren't created equal, but when I was learning to play 6, especially when it came to like the 6-string basses, Ibanez had a really, really comfortable feel for me. Transitioning from guitar to bass, I enjoyed that comfortability of how the Ibanez felt, just being a guitar player trying to learn to play bass. I would have to go back now and play another one to the SR series to see how I liked it now, as opposed to how my Warrior and this bass feels. But back in the day, I really enjoyed the feel of the Ibanez basses, and they had really good clarity. For them to be really inexpensive basses, they had really good clarity. That's what I did enjoy about that SR series Ibanez bass. All right, let's see here. And guys, at the same time, I am not a really technical. I say this all the time, but I'm not really a technical guy. I know what I know, but when it comes to, if you're looking for somebody that's on this whole dimensions and scales and string height and all this stuff, is like I know what works for me, but I'm not the most technical guy on the planet when it comes to that stuff. That's not my forte in terms of things I know that well. I like the variety of tones I can get, and I like the way it feels in my hands. Purple Plus, what was that you said? Okay. Oh, yeah, you was talking about the sire. I had to go back up and read your comment. All right, so regular big guitar store saving up $2,000. Got you. I see what you're talking about. Just a really nice guitar store you're gonna check out. Cool. Let's see here. I'm born here says I'm playing Area Pro old school. Sounds great with the Bartolini pickups. I haven't heard of that bass. Area Pro. I've never heard of that. There's a lot. You can see there's a lot of stuff I ain't heard of. Can you please help me play Sabine an African rhyme with 5-string bass guitar? Give me some techniques. I have no clue. The Schneidy Boston. Is that how you say that? I have no clue the song you're talking about. You'd have to be more, or send it to me where I can hear it. I'm not going to do it here on this particular live, but yeah, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. But do this. Send the song to me and let's set up a bass coaching call, and let's see how I can help you work through that. All right, so send it to Jermaine at jermainemorgan.net, and be sure to visit the website. Go ahead and set up a coaching call, and let's talk about it. All right. Do you play an upright or double bass? I don't. I've never had access to one to play double bass. And remember, guys, when I was around all that stuff, when I was like really in college, where I would have access to that stuff, I was playing guitar. Bass was like not my primary instrument. Bass was the last instrument I picked up. You know, it was always keyboards, guitar, a little bit of drums, and bass was like the last thing on the list. So I didn't pick up bass to my adult years. Just FYI, I was playing, but I didn't really seriously start playing to my adult years. All right, I leave the Yamaha B, the Nathanese joint at the church. On the sire, it stays at home. Okay, so you care a little bit more about the sire. All right. Good morning. Have any thoughts about short scale basses? The Squire that you see me play is a short scale bass. If the bass has a great tone and a great feel, my personal opinion, I work with it. You know, if it has a great tone and a great feel, man, I'll work with it. I prefer, depending on what I'm doing, like my own personal music that I write, I prefer the extended range stuff. I prefer, you know, at least having the 24 frets, so I can kind of really venture. Yeah, I do enjoy playing up past that 12th fret because I like melodies. I hear a lot of melodies, and I want to hear those melodies clear. I don't want to play them. You know, I enjoy, you know, the low end. Obviously, I'm a bass player, but when I'm writing songs, I hear them a certain way, and I hear them an octave up, and I want that melody to really sing out like a vocal and that kind of thing. So I prefer, when I'm doing my own stuff or when I'm taking a solo or that kind of thing, I know I'm have to do that. I prefer to have, you know, just at least 24 frets, even if it's a 5-string bass, to be able to have that room. Even if I don't go all the way up there, I prefer to have the option to do that as opposed to doing the short scale bass. And nothing against that. I can still do it. I can pull it off, but just my preference, I'd prefer to have something else, if you understand my drift. All right, so let's see here. Any tips to develop rhythmic playing versus melodic? Yeah, subdividing. I've been talking about that a lot with a lot of different students that I've been sharing with in the coaching calls. If you're not getting in on these coaching calls, you're definitely missing out. And if any of my folks are on here, they'll tell you you're definitely missing out. As much as I enjoy the video lessons that I do from week to week with the monthly membership, I love that because it gives me freedom to move around and, you know, not be stuck to a schedule. Every now and again, it's good to sit face to face or one-on-one via video and be able to see what a player is doing and be able to tell them, okay, that's where you're making a mistake at. All right, I see what you're doing. You're putting your finger on this, instead of, you know, me being able to look at what they're doing and being able to help them to navigate what it is they're doing wrong so they can kind of make the adjustment. And a lot of people, they don't need that ongoing. They just need, you know, one time 1 or 2 times. Like I said, with my coaching calls, it's set up for a month. So it's like that accountability factor. I'll sit with you for like 4 weeks, well, 1 day a week for 4 weeks, and just kind of give you some little pointers, analyze some things that you're doing wrong, help you make the adjustment, and you're back on your way. If you're part of the monthly membership lessons, you get back on the monthly membership. But what that allows me to do is kind of evaluate, so to speak, evaluate what you have going on, and oh, I see what you're doing. I see what's stopping you. I see what's slowing you down. It might not even be mechanical as it pertains to your playing. It might have more to do with the fact that you are mentally stressing. That's why you can't do certain things, not because you can't physically do it, but mentally you're stressing every time you get ready to do certain things. And that's what's affecting your playing ultimately, is the fact that you are mentally stressing about everything you're doing. Every time you have a chance to play in front of people, you start stressing out. And so you're why do I know about this? I've done it before many times. I would freeze up. It's like every time I told this story before. Every time I was in a band and I was kind of new to the band, I still had chops. I could solo and all this kind of stuff. But every time after this particular service would end, the band would just rock out and play it. And they'll call on solos and they'll go all the way around the room with solos. And Jermaine, come on, man, give me a solo. Every time I would freeze up, or I would just play, to me, the dumbest solo. I'm like, man, I could play better than that. What is this? Why am I doing this? And I would always mess up and I wouldn't understand. And I started to realize it had, number one, to do with a confidence thing, and it was mental. It was mental for me. My confidence was too low. I second guessed everything that I done. I had the chops, I had the ability to do it, but I realized that it was a confidence thing that I needed to work on. So a lot of times you'll find that in your playing, it ain't always about, the mechanics of what it is you're doing. Sometimes it's about just trusting that you already have the information and you need to execute it. All right, so let me get back here. Von Bryant, what's up, man? He said, who is your favorite bass player? I don't know that I have one right now. I don't know that I have a favorite. So many great bass players. I can't honestly say that I have a favorite. There's some people who are in my top list. If I have to list off some people, probably the most, I don't want to even say the most, influential players that have really inspired me are people obviously like Victor Wooten, just kind of being introduced. Nate Holloman, if he's watching this, he's probably gonna hate the fact I mentioned his name. It is what it is, but Nate Holloman is one of the cats that really inspired me to take my bass playing to the next level, because he's a person that I saw in real life do Victor Wooten type stuff. Because up to that point, I had cats that I like, local heroes that I looked up to that were really good. Cats that lived in Mississippi, like Chris Parks was really good when I was growing up. Younger bass player, he's about my age, but he was just ahead of his time in terms of what we were playing around there. He was really, really good. So I looked up to him when I was growing up. I looked up to some other players, local heroes like anybody else, the people that you were closest to. But as far as known people, of course, your Victor Wootens. I got introduced to Marcus Miller kind of later on. Richard Boner really inspired me when I got hip to Richard Boner, Matthew Garrison, and all of these people. I haven't really sit and just studied like intensely any of these people. Victor Wooten, I probably spent the most time like studying Victor Wooten, but I haven't really intensely studied any of these other players that I'm mentioning. I've appreciated them from afar, and I appreciate what they do, and I've learned a lot from them, but just studying bass players, I haven't really done that with a lot of bass players. I listen to a lot of different quartet gospel music, different bass players. I would pick out different things that they done, and I would be inspired by what they done. But just having a favorite, just all-time favorite bass player, I'm not sure I have one. And probably around 2008, I was heavily influenced by Hadrian Farad. When he came, that ain't when he came on the scene, but that's when everybody kind of started knowing who he was. I was hearing the stuff that he was doing, and it really, really, really struck a nerve with me in terms of like making me, okay, it's another level to this thing. Like I didn't have any clue that people could do that on bass. Victor Wooten is in his own, he's in his own thing. I'm not taking anything from Victor at all. He's in his own world by himself. If you go back and listen to the stuff that he's did with his solo records and even the stuff that he did with Bela Fleck, that's mind-boggling for me. But when I heard Hadrian, it was another thing that resonated with me from, I think, his finger tone style that kind of stood out with me, because I'm like, okay, I think I'm more in that neck of the woods than, the thumping and the slapping thing, and I can do that. And again, hear me clearly, because I am a Vic fan. Vic's finger tone stuff is amazing. So this is nothing at Vic. I'm just saying Hadrian resonated with me in a different way because of the type things I heard him do, and I hadn't heard anybody else do that at that time. Gary Willis is another one that I listened to. Bootsy Collins, going back to the old funk and groove and stuff that Bootsy Collins used to do. Man, it's so much stuff. I think I mentioned, Gary Willis. Gary Willis is like pre-Hadrian Farad. Gary Willis just good old funk groove, but he can go melodic with you. John Patitucci. I was introduced to John Patitucci later in life. I didn't have a clue to who he was. But once I found out, I was like, wow. Yannick Wisdala is another one. I listened to Yannick. What I like about Yannick is he's very, very clean. Spell his name Janek. If some of you guys don't know who he is. Yannick Wisdala is pronounced Yannick Wisdala, and last name is spelled Gwizla, I think. I know I butchered the spelling of that, but it's pronounced Yannick. So anyway, he's another one that I've listened to because he's very intentional about how he plays, and it's very, very clean. His thing is about being really, really, really precise and really clean. So there's a lot of players. Alan Evans, man, my dude. Snoop, man, he's another phenomenal bass player. Donald Alford, and I'm inspired. Like a lot of my peers inspire me. So again, I could go on and on and on naming people, and I'll forget people and have to come back and apologize, because there's so many people that I can pull from, that I get a little bit from each person. It's like I'm not taking anything, I'm not taking their style or anything like that, but I get a little bit from the work ethic and the creativity of each person. Jimmy Haslip, I pulled a lot from Jimmy Haslip with the Yellow Jackets. He really resonated with me too, as well. So it depends on what we're talking about, the genre of music that we're talking about, and that'll give me a list of players that I can name that, oh yeah, this person definitely affected me. But we almost have to sit down and eat a sandwich for me to tell you all these different players because I can't sit and name. I'll be here for the next 20 minutes naming players that have affected me in one way or another, and I've missed so many just with the few names I've named. There's 100 others that I haven't even mentioned. So, all right, I'm moving on. I'll be here way too long. All right, so I'm behind in my questions again. Y'all, I stayed on here 2 hours last week. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that at all. Deandra Johnson, I'm playing Ibanez BTB 747 7-string. Wow, okay, I see you. 7-string, I got you. All right, where can I get the new X? I don't know. You can check Amazon. I don't actually know where this is sold. Like I said, the company contacted me, and they sent me that pedal. So I'm not sure where it's sold just yet, but I'll do that research. I'll be doing a review on that pedal soon. I don't know how soon, but I'll be doing a review on that pedal soon. So as soon as I know, I'll probably I'm sure you can find it on Amazon, but I'll put the Amazon link in the description of that video when I do a review of that particular pedal. Yeah, so it's spelled N-U-X, New X, all right? And that's the Melvin Lee Davis preamp. I'm just learning on a Glary 4-string bass. I really wanted a 5-string because I like the deep bass sound. I'm having trouble keeping my thumb upright. Any tips? So you may have to adjust your forearm. I'm glad you asked that. I had a student of mine the other day, and I was able to see something I hadn't really paid attention to before because I naturally do it. I adjust my forearm as I'm moving up and down the fretboard, or either adjusting my forearm or adjusting how I'm holding my bass. Like I might push the bass out. A lot of times you'll see my bass like this instead of like this. I intentionally push it out here because that keeps my forearm straight, as straight as possible instead of having this. And it's another player, I'm trying to think, he had his arm kind of like this and it was really, really bent. And I know that's really uncomfortable. And so when you're playing like that versus like having a really relaxed forearm, that can really affect what you're doing, affect your sound, and ultimately affect your wrist. You don't want to do that. So having a really relaxed forearm and a wrist when you play helps. You know what I'm saying? Try to keep it as straight as possible. There's going to be a little arch in it, but trying to keep it as straight as possible. Because like I said, I'll keep my neck when I'm playing. My neck sometimes will be away from my body. It'll be pointed up. And even arching your bass up, sometimes you guys will see I'll arch especially when I'm standing. When I'm sitting, it's got a little bit more of this to it, but when I'm standing, generally I keep my bass arched. Not arched, but kind of angled like this, as opposed to playing with my bass down like this, because it puts a little bit more stress on the hands and on my wrist, especially when I go down to this area. But when I'm soloing, if you see me live, more than likely, and if I'm standing up, you're gonna see my bass has kind of got this thing happening with it. And it's just more comfortable. And I found myself over the years adjusting more to where it's just a comfortable thing. Like my hands, the natural position of my hands, if I could stand up a second, the natural position of my hands when I'm playing and I'm standing up, more so is like this. When you guys see me on the videos, I'm a lot of times like this just because I got bad posture when I sit down. But when I'm playing live, my posture is more like this. I'm standing up and the bass has a tilt to it. And that way my arms there's not as much stress as it would be if I was playing like this. But it all comes down to preference at the end of the day. What is more comfortable for you, what works for you, because everything doesn't work for everybody. When I sit down, I've tried to playing like this. Sometimes I can do it, but sometimes it gets uncomfortable when I'm trying to hold my bass. I could never find a comfortable position when I'm holding it like this, sitting down. I know the benefits of it. Maybe I need a better seat or something like that. I don't know. I can't figure it out. But yeah, those are some things that I do in terms of my wrist and making sure that I'm not hurting my arm or having a difficulty working around this neck. So great question there. Hopefully that helps somebody else who had a similar question that didn't ask it. All right. Let me go back here. Okay, so T-Rect, y'all be having some names on here. I have an Ibanez SRFF 805. It's a fan fret bass. Feels and sound great. Sweet. Marcus Jones, what are your thoughts on LTD 6-string? I have a cousin that had one of those basses. I have never really played an LTD. I mean, I guess they're cool. I can't really comment one way or another. Like I said, I have a cousin that plays it and he seems to like it. I still own an Area Pro 2 bought in 1983, Sam Ash, New York. Oh wow. So 1983, yeah, you need to hang on to that. I'm sure it's probably worth a lot right now, I'm sure. Most of Ibanez SR series have Bartolini's. Yeah, they do. They do have them. Oh man, ain't that true? I know I'm super behind because I have no idea, Big Josh, what you talking about. I'd love to know, got any tips on how to develop groove and coming up with quickly licks? Absolutely, there's tons of videos, Christian. So be sure when we leave here, binge watch. Binge watch my channel. Matter of fact, go back to Jermaine Morgan. I got my stuff in different playlists. Go back to Jermaine Morgan Season 2 and Jermaine Morgan TV Season 2 and Season 3. And you're definitely going to figure out how to develop some quick licks and groove. All that stuff I've devoted a whole series to just what you're talking about. So absolutely. You say I can play songs like My Strength and other songs from Israel Houghton, for example, but only when I put in the work. I can't groove on the spot. Yeah, it's just you said, or play licks for that matter. It's just consistency. Consistency, doing it over and over again to where it becomes muscle memory for you. And you have to work definitely on subdividing. I've been talking about that a lot lately in terms of subdividing, that counting in between one E and a two E and a three E and a four. Those notes or those syllables that happen in between the notes. Instead of, because when you start implementing ghost notes, you're basically just filling in the spaces. And subdividing allows you to find out where those notes are, one E and the two E and the three E, and you pick out which ones you want to accent or which ones you want to play, and that's kind of where it comes about. So I've been talking about that on several other lessons. So yeah, so that's kind of where that comes in at. All right. Jones, I totally agree. Good morning from Thumper, man. What's up, man? All right, so I had the same mental limitations when I was in college. Every jam session, I felt like everyone was looking at me and expecting a great solo, and it drove me nuts. Lack of confidence played a big part. Absolutely. Lack of confidence will send you down in flames every time. Moses, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Thank you. I will continue to work on my fingering. It's challenging, but I will work at it. I like putting the bass upward. Yeah, it helps. It definitely helps. Just holding the bass upwards. Morning, Jermaine. What's your approach to chords on the sixth string? I just play what sounds good. that's my short answer for you. I play what sounds good. After learning just the basic chords, chord structures, I start playing around with moving shapes around. Once I got something that I like in one position, if I like this, it's major 7, I'll start moving notes around. Get my dominant. And it just basically that's my approach. How I've came up with most of my chords on sixth string was through trial and error, just trying stuff. If it sounds good, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder what would happen if I move that here. That's my science to it. It didn't come from no deep place and me reading some chart and I came up with this. Like, nah, most of my chords was I played what sounded good and I kept experimenting with it until I found something else I liked and I put it all together. That's the science. Sorry that it's not more deep than that, but that's pretty much that's it. All right. What do you think about fan frets? I'm not familiar with fan frets, man. I'm haven't had really any experience with fan frets to my knowledge, so I can't speak on it one way or the other. Good morning from Kansas. I'm trying to work on my speed, and I've noticed that my fingers come off the fretboard a little too high. Do you have any exercises to share that will correct this? Yeah, working on things like arching your fingers and working on like different chromatic scales. Like you can just work on just different things. And just pay attention to how high your hands or your fingers are coming off the fretboard when you're doing these. I mean, you can create, and that's the thing, you guys, and I know you're just asking for help, but a lot of times you can create your own exercises. The biggest thing is just pay attention to what it is you're doing and move around the fretboard. And when you're creating these exercises, though, one thing to remember, give each finger a fret. Try not to cramp your hands up all up under here like that. Give each finger a fret. If you give each finger a fret and start just moving around the fretboard, you know, ascending or descending at a diagonal or however you want to do it, like you start moving around the fretboard, giving each finger a fret and separating, isolating each finger and like spreading out the motion of how you know. If you normally play like this all the time, do the opposite. You know what I'm saying? And if you're used to going in just one direction, break it up. So what you want to do, you want to break up the monotony of what your hands are used to doing. That's the biggest thing that's going to help you in your exercises, because only you know what your habits are. And in practicing, you want to break as many bad habits as you can. Kind of confuse your muscle memory to a degree in terms of, and I say that like you want to break up the monotony of what your fingers are used to doing and get your muscles to doing something completely different. So at any moment's notice, when you want to play something completely different, like you can get your fingers to respond to what you're thinking as opposed to just doing it all the same way all the time. All right. Let me see here. Okay, fretless. Somebody said fretless question. I'm not sure what the question is there. I don't have a fretless. I can play a fretless, but I don't have one now. Am I good at fretless? Nah. I'm okay. I'm decent, but I haven't had enough experience, and I don't dare diminish what it takes to be a good fretless player, because I know that's an art to that. It's almost like from going to piano to organ. Just because you can play the notes don't mean you're good at the other, just because you can play one of them. So yeah, I'm not, I can play the notes. I can get a good sound. I can fake it, but I'm like, I haven't had the experience, enough experience on a fretless to be a really good fretless player right away. I think I could get there pretty quickly, but right away, nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't take a gig and just do fretless tonight. Probably not. Give me a week or so to figure it out. All right. So what should I listen for when I'm trying to figure out what key scale is being played? Is this just something that comes with lots and lots of experience? Yeah, after playing and working on scales, you begin to start listening for certain things. Once you just say, for instance, start with what you know. Don't go and try to conquer all the scales in one week. Like if you know already the major scale, okay, so now as you're listening to songs throughout the week, start picking out the major scale in those songs. Once you begin to do that and you've developed your ear to do that, now you're training your ear to listen for certain things. So, okay, this is what a major scale sounds like. Okay, so now I know what to listen for when I'm looking for a major scale. And you do that with a minor scale. You know what a minor scale sounds. Okay, that lick is built off like a minor scale. You do it with major and minor pentatonic scales. So like, okay, I see what that sounds like. So that's a major pentatonic that they play. And so now after you do that so much, you'll start to be able to pick out certain things, and you won't be able to pick it out all of it, like you won't be able to pick all of it out right away, but you get more and more confident about, okay, I see what that is. I see what they're doing. Okay, I see how they're building that. And you'll have a general idea of what it is you're hearing, and you'll be able to kind of start to mimic it. It'll take a little while. It took me a while, and I'm not a virtuoso at, listening to what other people are doing and being able to pick out every single thing. But a lot of times when I hear people play stuff, I repeat it. And that's another thing. When you listen to music, you have the opportunity to play it. If you hear somebody sing a line or something like that, try to play what you just heard. And I think that's what really helped me to develop it. Not so much learning all of my scales, but being able to mimic what I just heard. And I think at the end of the day, that's probably the more important thing, being able to repeat what it is you're hearing as opposed to being able to name the scale. If you're writing music or you're trying to communicate it with somebody else, yeah, being able to name what it is somebody just did is helpful. But if you're trying to just play it and apply it, hearing it and playing it is a little bit more helpful in my opinion. All right. So, thanks. When I found your channel, I already checked out Lowe's. There is not much gospel related content out there like this. We'll search for season 2. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate that. I'm working more and more to bring you guys more content. There's gospel content out there, but Yeah, it's scattered. It's yeah. I'm working. I put it like this. I'm working to give you guys more of the gospel content, things that I know that gospel players or people that are looking to play the genre want to know, and the in between stuff that nobody else is talking about. That's the stuff I'm trying to bring you guys. All right. Um, I need very light bass. Do you have any ideas? I don't know. You, Charlie, you really just got to go and just try them out. All basses, like I said before, are not created equal. I don't think Ibanez basses are generally heavy, depending on the series that you get. So you really just got to kind of just go around and check them out, see what feels the best. Because you might have a bass that's super light, but it sounds like garbage, you know, or it feels trashy. So I don't know. Like my Warrior Ibanez, not Ibanez, my Warrior Isabella is very light. That bass, my 5-string bass that got the exotic, you know, cover and the single cut, it's super lightweight. That bass is not heavy at all. And it sounds amazing to me. But it's up to you and what you like. Um, each bass is not the same. My Warrior 6-string, however, on the other hand, it was a little more heavy. It not quite as heavy as this bass, but it was definitely heavier than my Isabella bass. So it depends on the bass. It really depends on the bass. Um, I really like your videos and your inspiration. Do you have any experience with the Yamaha TRB-JP, Yamaha John Patitucci? I haven't played that bass. I'm interested in playing it, but I've never played that bass. Your fingering is perfect. I can't wait to get there. I really want to play Twinkie Clark songs like everything you need. I'm learning for me, but I got a long ways to go. Real life, I get you. I understand. My fingering is a long way from perfect, but it works for me. I've figured out how to navigate it. And the thing about your playing, you adjust as you go. That's kind of my philosophy. I make adjustments as I go. As I see a problem, I adjust it. I don't worry about getting everything right before I start. I'll just take risk. I'm learning the older I get just to take risk and work on what you know that's a problem right away, and the other stuff, just keep it moving. Eventually what you need to fix and what you need to improve on, it'll come to you. It'll start showing itself some kind of way. It'll rear its head up, or you run across a video and somebody will point something out to you, like, oh man, I didn't know I was doing that. Kind of like with me with adjusting my bass. I played years just, you know, like this. I played for years with just bad posture and all that kind of stuff. And my posture at times can still be bad. But like I say, for the most part, when I'm playing out, you know, my wrist is pretty relaxed, and my arm, I just do it like I don't even think about it anymore now when I play. It's just a natural, especially if I'm playing solo stuff. It's just a natural thing. It's just more comfortable. I had a tendency, you'll see me in live shows, I'm constantly kind of adjusting my bass. Like if it starts tilting down, I'll adjust it back, like almost like my body knows the most comfortable position for me to play in. And that might not be the correct Gary Willis, you know, right hand straightened arm position that I see so many people doing now. But, you know, it's one that works for me. Like I do play this straightened arm technique from time to time, but I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to get that every time from me. I just kind of go with what's comfortable. If I feel myself being a little uncomfortable, I make a slight little adjustment. I don't obsess over trying to make sure that I have the perfect, you know, 45-degree angle and all this technical stuff. That's not me. It's good for the people who need that, but for me, I go with what's comfortable, and I make the adjustments as I need to make the adjustments. I don't obsess over anything. What's your approach on muting on 6-string bass? Depends on what you're referring to. Like sometimes I'll have to use this fret wrap from Groove Gear. Other times I can mute with the finger that's just kind of gliding over the string. It all depends on what I'm playing at the moment. If I'm playing stuff like that, if they're like you know, long notes that I'm holding out, I can quickly mute the strings. And like, see, I generally have floating fingers over the top of the string above. And so I have like, I think my ears It's hard for me to say because my ears catch stuff and I make the adjustments on the fly a lot of times. You have one thing like I'm talking about, my fingers that are free are kind of floating over the strings that's doing the muting. And a lot of times I might come back and stop the ringing with my right hand. I might just touch the strings and stop the ringing. So my finger is already resting on the B string, and my pointer finger might come back and stop any ringing that might be happening in the E string, or I might simply use the fret wrap. It's just one of those things, I just do it on the fly so much that I don't have a set way, okay, this is how I play mute, because I'm doing stuff a lot of times. It's a lot of stuff that's happening from feel, so I'm not always mechanically thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this to mute the strings, I'm gonna do that. It's just some things that happen naturally, and I'll catch myself doing it, and I'll just make the adjustment on the fly. I'm sorry for that answer, but that's the truth for me. I'll catch a lot of stuff that I'm doing on the fly, and that's how I make the adjustment. All right, Area Pro 2, solid oak, work, neck through thumb, but being okay. I had a Warwick thumb. It was a bow tone. I had a Warwick. Some of you guys may see that if you go watch my old Journey video. It's called Jermaine Morgan Journey. Look it up on YouTube. It's old. I look, I'm young on that video. I'm probably about 10 years younger there. So about 26, 27, somewhere in there on that video. I'm a lot skinnier. But there's a video of me playing my Warwick thumb bass there. And that bass was cool. I enjoyed that bass. I bought that bass from a friend of mine who had it, and I admired it when he had it. But yeah, that's I enjoyed that Warwick bass. So listen, guys, it's been fun talking to y'all today, but I do got some other stuff I have to do. So again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you guys have music that you're looking to get out, I see some more comments popped up. So great session. Okay, I'm out. All right, take it easy, bass man. What bass would you recommend for playing gospel in 2000 era 2200? Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I'm not gonna say, because there's a lot of basses out there. You might find a great deal on something that generally costs $4,000. They might have it for $2,000. You might like Ken Smith. You might like MTD. You might like a Warrior. You might like a Serene. You might like it's so much out there. I don't want to recommend anything because my opinion is biased as it pertains to the bass I think. Now, when I have my signature model, I'm going to recommend my signature model whenever Warrior gets through building it. Just because I know what I can get out of the bass and I know the tone qualities, but but I'm not gonna say, hey, you should buy this. I'm gonna recommend it to you, but I'm not gonna tell you what you should buy. But I'll just say, go try out as many basses as you can in the price range that you're looking to buy, and even the ones that are outside of the price range. You know, look at more expensive basses so you at least have an idea of what the other options are out there. Because you never know, you might run up on something, even though it's a $8,000 to $10,000 bass. Somebody they might be in a tight, and they might want to get rid of it for like $2,500. So you just never know. So I encourage you to just try out as many basses you can. Don't just stop in the $2,200 section. Look beyond that. Pick up some basses that cost a little bit more. So again, y'all, just to recap, merch is available. The hoodies, the t-shirts, I got phone cases. I sound like a hustle man for real, but I do have merch available. I really appreciate you guys that support the stuff and you buy the merch. If you do buy something, if you do happen to post a picture and you share it with me on social media, like Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's J Morgan Bass on Instagram. I will repost it. If it's on Facebook, I will repost it and share it. So if you have some of the merch already, and you don't mind taking a picture, or if you don't mind your picture being shown, I will repost it if you want to tag me in it, as well as the coaching calls. If you're looking to do the coaching calls with me, JermaineMorgan.net, click on the tab that says coaching calls. I would love to set those up with you, be able to help you in your plan. Basically sit down, analyze where you're having some problems at, and help you work through those problems and get better at whatever it is you're working on. Courses for days on my website, congregational courses, teaching you the congregational songs, how to play, how to navigate through gospel music, as well as a shout course that teaches you how to play modern shout music and give you ideas how to navigate around it. Riffs and licks courses. Several people ask me about doing licks and that kind of thing. I have courses dedicated to just that, over close to 50 licks with these two different courses. I think it's probably about 45 total, might be a little bit more. But yeah, I have courses on riffs and licks. So just letting you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff on my website that I've created, thinking ahead for you guys who need it. And the reason why I created a lot of this stuff, because this information wasn't available when I needed it. So I want to make sure I save you guys some time, save you some years on trying to learn and trying to figure this stuff out on your own. I've been in your shoes. I understand what you need, and I try to create content that addresses that need, so you guys aren't struggling trying to learn it, because I know a lot of people are stingy with their information, and I don't want to be that for you. What was this? Somebody said, I love you read the chat and take time to make it personal. Oh man, thank you, Christian. Please stop reading the chat and interrupting your conversations. Pay attention to your live stream. Okay. All right. I cook with my own menstrual. What? Okay. I don't understand what you mean. I'm gonna just ignore that. I'm a little lost on what that is talking about. So anyway, exactly. That's what that is, real life. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and ignore all that. So anyway, thank you guys for being here. Again, if you want to create some music, that's what I'm doing this week. Well, it's what I do every single week, but I'm really kind of working on a client right now. So remember, if you got some original music, you want me to produce it, you want me to work with you, you want me to help you with your original music, to get it out, to get your ideas out, to develop them, you want them to sound like they were professionally produced, holla at me. I'm looking forward to working with you. Anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you for rocking with me today. I ain't staying on here 2 hours a day. So I appreciate you guys, and for everybody watching the replay, thank you. If you found something helpful on this video, please share it with somebody. And any of my other content, if you haven't seen it, I dropped a lot of new videos. So go back and watch all my stuff. Go binge watch. You don't got nothing else to do. Go watch my stuff. Y'all have a great day, man. I'm out of here. And I really enjoyed this talk. I enjoyed getting on here with y'all. So Grooves and Motivation Live. This is basically what this segment is called. So the Grooves and Motivation video that I release through the week, be sure to check those out. I think they normally drop on Saturdays. So be sure to check those out. I'm playing a song. I'm giving you guys some inspirational stuff. So help me by sharing those videos. Let people know about them. Comment, share, like, subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. And yeah, hit the like button. There you go, real life. That's what I'm talking about. Hit that button. Hit that like button and let somebody know you like this video. Let the algorithm of YouTube, the only way people find out about this channel is if you guys respond to the content that I'm putting out. Because YouTube algorithm is saying if I'm on here for this long and only this amount of people liked it, it must not be that good. So if you think it's good, be sure to hit the like button so I can win with this algorithm. This thing is something else. So y'all help your boy out. I appreciate you being here. I will see you guys on the next video. We'll talk to you live on next week. I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.